Forget that 215, okay? That 215 was just a statement that basically when the IRS sends you something, okay, that's one of their codes that they use of what they're charging you out here. So it's one of their fraudulent codes. You don't use it, okay?
Patrick, we don't use what? We don't use the...
We don't use their codes. Those are banking codes, okay? All we do is basically we have to release the credits. To set off any bill or whatever, okay? I had Tom post up there the other day a new my UCC/FBI warning. Okay, the UCC belongs to us. Okay, it's copyrighted out of Rome, but it's for the ecclesiastical people out here to utilize. The UCC really stands for Universal Copyrighted Creditors.
Huh.
It's our document to interface with these fraudulent bankers. All the states have to have the UCC in place. That's our remedy to be able to operate under the UCC. We are an ecclesiastical state or an e-state.
Oh.
We were given our statehood, our individual statehood, as an ecclesiastical state by the Declaration of Independence, which was signed and blessed off by the Church of Rome. Per Roman law. And then they had to bring in, after they brought in the fraudulent Social Security system, they had to bring in a remedy for us, and they brought in the UCC system as our remedy to combat the pirates. Yeah, who is Section 5108 really for? It's for us. It's our means of setting bills off and everything else. But all we have to do is release the credits. They fraudulently got us under a signature out here to issue an implied letter of credit to them, and then that was an assign. We were the assignor, and then they set up a fraudulent assignee in our name. That's why on a mortgage contract, your signature is on the right-hand side, but your name is also on the left-hand side of that mortgage contract. So you assigned your credits over to the person on the left-hand side, not to the bank, but to this other person, this fictional person who is now the guarantor of the mortgage, holding your credits. All you have to do is release the credits that he's holding over to the bank. That's the same thing that goes on with every corporate billing you have out here. You signed up with them, so you gave them a letter of credit. but the letter of credit went into a fictional account with your name on it so that they could use these credits for their benefit, for hire and for profit and gain, unjust hire, profit, and gain. That's the fraudulent banking system that's out here. All we have to do is release the credits, and then they don't get the profits anymore. We cut them off at the knees. We are an ecclesiastical exempt. Okay, I had Tom post up 3 documents today, okay? One was my American Ecclesiastical UCC Universal Copyrighted Creditors for an affidavit and letter of credit. I will keep this document in the original in my files because I'm a state. I can hold my own records. I don't need to put it into their governmental record system. I will hold it here. I'll send copies out to them under this notice and this letter of total recall for an affidavit and letter of recall out to them, calling in all my assets. We'll send that into the port authorities there in Kansas City or Philadelphia. We'll also notify the Secretary of State that you're in for any fraudulent claims that they have over your property. They're claiming beneficial ownership of your property. If you've got a certificate of title to a vehicle, you've got a certificate of title to a house, basically they are fraudulently using that house as they are claiming to be the beneficial owner, and then they're depositing the credits into your fictional person's account, and all you have to do is release those credits to pay the property taxes or whatever. That's why last call that I said, basically, you make up a stamp that says guarantor on the first line, second line, your Social Security number, and then your third line, credits, capital C, credits, and then the word released, all capital. It's right in the definitions of what needs to be done. You have to release the credits. But we are an ecclesiastical state. That's what an e-state is all about. We're an ecclesiastical state. And I said this about 5-6 years ago, that basically there's roughly about another 100 million states in this country, besides the 51 governmental states. We stand over these courts, but you have to come in your ecclesiastical capacity to stand over them in the process. And like I said, you have ecclesiastical immunity. And those rights are protected by the 9th, and our powers are protected by the 10th Amendment. We as an ecclesiastical state are the only ones that are allowed to vote in this country, or the de jure governmental officials that are to be elected. All these other people that are out there thinking they've got the right to vote, they don't. Only the ecclesiastical state has the right to vote. Like I said before, the woman is supposed to stand under the protection of her husband, her dead husband, or her father, or dead father, whatever the case may be. Right out of the book of Ruth. They do that, and basically they will remain protected. So I don't know how many of you people have gotten the documents, have read over the documents, and understand them. You need to understand that UCC warning. You can send that to anybody you want to. You get stopped by the cops. You say, hey, you need to read this before we go any further. Give a copy to them. Okay? You've now warned them that basically you are standing in a different scenario than what they are used to. And that you can turn around and basically take them down because they're the pirates. And you will bring the admiralty in against them. Just like in the Pirates of the Caribbean. I reposted that up there. I had Tom repost the UCC Section 5108 up again. So you people can read that. Our right of restitution lies in Section I of that document. You take all your receipts, even your $300 penalty envelopes. After you get your stamp made up, guarantor, Social Security number, credits released, you stamp that on those envelopes. You stamp that on your receipts. And then all you have to do is just sign your name, okay, the guarantor's name on there. You don't even have to say that this is coming in from the fiduciary or anything like that, or date these receipts. You add them all up into an invoice, and then you make up a cover letter and address it to either Kansas City or Philadelphia Finance Center and demand your restitution. You're going to start the rebuilding process of your ecclesiastical state. You're going to start the process of bringing your credits home that we've been deprived of all along.
Hello, Patrick.
Yes.
How are you today?
Okay.
Good. I am really excited. I have a lot of those envelopes. I saved them.
Yeah, I think I threw 2 of them away. I found another 7 of them that I had, Bill, but so I got about another $4,800 worth of them.
Well, I know I have quite a few of those, and I also wanted you to know that I have ordered the stamp. However, they were giving me problems with that. But I think it'll all be taken care of. So what I did was I had them to create the transparency so I could take that and lay it and then print, and I will have the same thing. So,
well, you can just get a black stamp, okay, not a self-inking stamp, but just a rubber stamp made up, and then go and get a red ink pad.
Right. I told them that.
And then you just do that, and instead of, you'll have to ink it up a couple times, but basically, I know Staples had no problem in making it up for me. Okay?
I will go over there, but I should be mine, I think, tomorrow. So I just thought that I would call you.
The stamp number is, the stamp number that I got from Staples was 2260.
2260. All right.
That's the size, basically, that I used.
All right, then. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Patrick, I can make my own invoice up for my own self and make it a receipt, right?
Yeah, you take your receipts that you have, add them all up, and make an invoice, totaling them all up, okay? But you stamp each receipt, throw those in an envelope or in a box or whatever, and then you have your invoice, and then you do a cover letter addressing that to that finance center, and then send them all in.
Patrick, I'm not saying that kind of receipt. I'm saying a receipt for me, because I don't have any, real receipts. I was going to make me a receipt up and send it in as some kind of invoice in terms of payment to myself. Can I do that?
No. You haven't got any receipts whatsoever?
No, because I had 48 of those things y'all were just talking about, and I threw them away about a year ago.
Okay.
So I don't have those no more.
Okay. You go down to the local gas station and you pick up all the receipts out of the garbage bin. Be a dipster dumpster diver. Okay? There's millions of dollars in the dipsty dumpsters.
You can say that again.
Yeah.
Cold-blooded.
I mean, you could become a millionaire tomorrow. Dive in the dumpsters. I said this before. I just didn't have all the complete process of what we needed to do. We can release those credits from our account because what we're doing is we're releasing the national debt.
Yes.
In the process.
Can you do the same thing if you're an executor of an estate and they've got me in foreclosure on my brother's property, and could I release it as executor the same way I would if it were mine? Since
you would have to get your account first. Then you go after your inheritance from your brother's estate or whatever.
You mean my 98 account?
No. He has an EIN, an estate EIN.
He does?
You would pull in his Social Security account, his offshore mortgage account, and you would have to claim that back as one of the lawful inheritors, right of inheritance against that ancestor, or basically as that relative, estate.
Where would I find that?
You will find that after you get out of the system. You take care of yourself first, okay?
Okay.
Please.
I'm in the middle of foreclosure now.
Don't muddle your mind with too much other stuff, okay? That's the problem. Everybody out here has been worried about how do I get so much out of my account? How much is in the account? I want to know how much is there, and then I want the whole thing. You don't worry about that. Okay? But you've got to take care of yourself first. Because if you haven't taken care of yourself, you're no good to anybody else.
Right. And
Patrick?
And
yes.
Again, can you tell me what your group is, or how to get on your...
Speak up, please.
How to get on your website or your group or whatever?
Okay. Files are located on eConcurrent, okay, .com/divine. And then basically there's a set of files there, and basically audios and different items there. Okay?
Thank you.
Or you go into We the People, all one word, _ shareholders, and that's a Yahoo group. And you'll have to sign up with that, and there's no problem. You just have to determine how you want your emails to be sent, and then type in that little code, and basically then you can start downloading all the files. Tom will send you a welcome aboard email initially.
Yes, and in that email, it tells you how to get onto the Skype group to discuss things.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, Patrick, I got a question about old bank statements. If you don't have receipts, but you have bank statements proving that you've paid utilities, gas, what have you, can you pull up all those old bank statements and send those into the finance centers?
I don't know why you couldn't. Okay.
Okay.
You're just going to get reimbursed for the credits that you paid out of your back pocket. Okay? So what you're saying is that you're releasing your guarantor, your Social Security person down there in Puerto Rico is going to release those credits to you up here in the continental United States.
Some utility companies allow you to get online and print out a list of the payments that you've made. Sometimes it goes back a year, 18 months, 2 years.
Okay.
You could just print that out.
And that would be good as receipts. But I'm going to try the bank statements too and see what happens with that, because they're also proof of payments.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try that then. Thank you.
Now, there's numerous different ways that you can get these receipts. Like I said, even though that receipt in the dipsy dumpster ain't yours, basically you're coming in to try and help the damn country by releasing the national debt.
Oh, my goodness. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Has anyone done this before?
No, that's the problem. They were trying to do this, but they never fully understood our power and capacity, because they never understood how Section 5108 of the UCC functioned. And they never understood. See, they all tried to do the accepted for value, okay? That's not what is required. What's required is we need to release the credits, because they set up a fraudulent assignment. They're operating in total fraud in banking out here. And they basically took our credits that we gave per a letter of credit, because they need these letters of credit to operate by, and then they didn't want the credits right away, because they cannot make a profit if we pay the bill right now. The banks are out there to make money. The government's out there to make money off of you. But if we release the credits, and that's what the definition of release in Ballantyne's dictionary, second paragraph, says, you put the word released upon the invoice, the billing statement, and then Section 5108 says you send this back to whoever sent you the bill. They have to complete the IRS banking forms, because the IRS is basically the banker accounting system for the Social Security IRS banking system. Now, a military man has a Social Security VA banking system.
Will they send back something saying that
they may or may not, because basically they don't want the word out. I was on Angela Starr's phone call Thursday night. Came in there, and basically they kept wanting to see the proof. I need to see the proof. I need to see the proof. Basically, they ain't going to give us the proof. Because if we had the proof, we could shut this whole system down tomorrow. So, you think the bankers are going to give this to us? You think the fraudulent Social Security Administration is going to give it to us?
Do you think the finance centers are going to give it to us?
They're going to give us the remedy. They will transfer the credits to where we need them.
Aren't they just more wolves, though?
No, they are in the de jure side of the government.
So what is it, the banking center of the United States, or is it a banking center of Philadelphia City?
It's the finance center of Kansas City or Philadelphia. Okay, these are the two ports of entry for the department, or for the Treasury Department.
The Treasury?
Yes, the Treasury Department, not the Department of the Treasury.
The Treasury Department in Washington, D.C.?
The de jure government constitutional Treasury Department.
And they're sitting there twiddling their thumbs, waiting for us to come forth?
Yes, they've been waiting for us to understand the banking system that's out here and basically start taking it down. But they couldn't tell us this. Okay? If they are insiders, just like John the Baptist was. And what happened to John the Baptist? He lost his head because he spilled the beans to Jesus. Abraham Lincoln tried to put in protections for the people. What happened? The bankers took him down because Abraham Lincoln was an insider, along with his Secretary of State. President Garfield was an insider. He tried to stop the bankers from coming in, starting their process using insurance back in the 1880s. They killed him. JFK was trying to get back into using lawful currency out here. And what they do? They took him down because JFK was an insider. Joseph P. Kennedy was an insider. How did they shut him up? They killed his first son, Joseph, in World War II. These bankers will shoot anybody in the back. And there's been a lot of military people that have been shot in the back.
Friendly fire.
Yeah. By our own people.
Our own people.
What we think are our own people, but basically they're the bankers, they're the devil, they're the deceivers. These guys and all these attorneys and everything else, they have bar cards. All these judges, they are mimicking the de jure government court system in this country. They're frauds. You go in, you have a female judge, you know right there that basically that's a fraudulent court. It's a mimic court. Trying to mimic the de jure. Every amendment since the 15th Amendment, so the 16th through the 27th, are total fraudulent amendments. They're banking frauds, banking amendments. Doing what? Destroying the individual ecclesiastical states of this country.
When you call these people insiders, are you saying that they're banking insiders or they're de jure insiders?
They are insiders in that they know some of the system because they have to know some of the system to operate in the capacity that they are operating in. They may not know the whole thing, but if what they know got out, okay, then the people might be able to piece it together a lot faster than it took me over 13 years to piece together.
And how much longer before we find out if your documents...
Well, you're not going to find out anything until you get off your butt and get the things out there, okay? You don't wait for anybody else to do your work for you, okay? You sit around and basically you lose. You snooze, you lose. That's the old saying.
Well, but it's nice to know that it is really, that it goes through.
You have to have faith and belief that this is. When you read and understand the definitions in the dictionary out there, and you basically confirm it by more than one dictionary about what the word says, and see, we were told to know the words. So when you understand what the word says and use the right connotation of that word, and then you have the proof in basically that we are an ecclesiastical state. Because that's what a state is, an E-state. So what's the E stand for? Ecclesiastical. And an ecclesiastical can go operate in both worlds, the living world and the spiritual world. See, the bankers can only operate in the spiritual world, the fictional world. And then they control us, the living world, by the fraudulent controls that they have over our spiritual persons. It's that simple.
Well, it's simple to you because you understand it, but, it's totally the opposite of a lot of things, even for those of us who've been in the freedom movement for many, many years and maybe aren't
it's 180 out. It's 180 out from what you've been led to believe out here in the Patriot Freedom Movement, because you were going down the wrong path, just like everybody out here. Never understood what the Declaration of Independence was about, never understood what the Constitution was about, never understood what the Bible was about. Okay? And then basically you tried to operate out here, and you kept referring to their codes to try and come out of the system. You can't come out using their codes. You have to have a higher authority, a higher power than them, and then you put the kibosh to them. And see, everybody was trying to operate in the same plane as what the pirates were doing. And basically, they were controlling you in the whole damn process. You just didn't see it. I mean, how many years have people been trying to do the accepted for value? How many people ever really got the accepted for value to work? Very, very few. And that was, in a lot of cases, only because of the goodness of the company you were dealing with, or by the court judge that you were dealing with, and he just dismissed the process. And then you didn't thank him properly. but you really didn't want to. You'd have to do it sort of stealth in the process so that you didn't get him in trouble, because they would have taken him down and in the back room and probably shot him. We have been our own worst enemy in this whole process because we did not fully understand the words. We were trying to fight the system in the process. We don't need any UCC 1s or UCC 3s or any of that, because we are the UCC. We're the universal copyrighted creditor. And with our baptismal record, we are an ecclesiastical state. And that's what the Pope tried to tell the people that were in prison there in Pennsylvania, that your remedy is in the prison chapels. Baptism was out there to forgive your original sins. When you were born into this world, you had no sins. You were born pure. The bankers put you under an original sin contract. A fraudulent debt contract, trying to make it implied that you are the debtor. They're the real debtors. Watch the movie The International. That's brought out pretty well in that movie. When you read and understand that latest my UCC FBI warning document, then you should start seeing the power that you have over these people. Your real court that you need to go into, if you need to go into any court whatsoever, is admiralty at the federal level, an Article 3 admiralty court. They will not show up. That's almost a guarantee, because they have to come in there naked to place a claim or a charge against you. And they're not going to do it. The other alternative you have, since all corporations in this country are bankrupt, and basically a police officer or a county prosecutor or a county judge or whoever, magistrate, harms you in any way, you get their employer's identification number. You get their license number. Okay? Like a cop. Basically, he has a banking license number to write securities. Banking securities. That traffic ticket is a banking security. So he has a banking license number. You get the employer's identification number and the license number, and you do an involuntary bankruptcy against them for harm caused. You take their bond of protection away from them, their banking bond of protection. Then they're out of a job. They'll have to go out and get a real job and start working for a living instead of out here ripping the people off and harming them.
Well, even if you're right, it seems like they stand up and protect each other.
Yes, they're going to try that, but basically you haven't taken this in and stated that you're going to take this to the FBI. The FBI is the federal banking inspectors. It's not the Federal Bureau of Investigation, it's the federal banking inspectors. And then all the attorney inspector generals, okay, that are out here, and there's quite a few of them. You got one in the post office system. You have one in the IRS system. You have one in the Social Security system. You have one in the Justice Department. You have one in the Treasury Department. You've got a whole bunch of inspector generals, and they're all waiting for you to come in and basically prove fraud against these bankers. We've already had results using the Social Security Inspector General.
How so?
I got $73,000 that they were trying to hold up from me, turned loose immediately when I claimed fraud. They've been holding it for over 3 months. They told me, well, we've got one leg of the approval done. And I said, I ain't going to wait another 3 to 6 months for each of the other 2 legs of approval. I turned around and called up the Social Security Inspector General, and I showed and claimed fraud that they were doing against me. He took care of it, and basically within 7 days, I had my damn funds deposited into my Direct Express card. $73,000. One of the other guys had the IRS taking out taxes out of his Social Security account. He called up and basically, or online, submitted into the Social Security Inspector General and claimed fraud. And basically, they stopped taking out any taxes, and he got reimbursed for the taxes that they'd taken out. Did we get a letter from them saying, here, we give this back to you? No, they ain't going to give it to us. They give us the credits, and then that's it. Because they don't want the proof out there, and they are not going to put their name on anything that says, hey, you did the remedy the right way. So don't ask the question about, I want to see documentation. You're not going to see it. That's why in the Bible it says you have to have faith and belief that the system will be in honor. But you have to be in honor also. And the only honorable thing you can do is release the credits. Otherwise, you're in dishonor. It even states that in the dictionaries and in the UCCs. Pretty simple. But you got to get off your butt and read these things, okay? And read between the lines. I try to highlight a lot of these items out here for you, so that the words sort of stand out when you need to come to them. And then if you don't understand the word, in a lot of cases, I've got the definition of that individual word in this other definition so that you can go and look it up. I've done a lot of legwork for you. You just need to get off your butts and get out there and do it. Then it's by word of mouth. Hey, I got remedy. And then the more people that speak up and say, hey, I got a remedy too, then people will start believing. You don't have to have the proof to show right in front of them, okay? Because a lot of people will never believe you. You can basically have everything gold-plated, and they still won't believe you. They'll think that you are totally doing something wrong, that you're the one that's wrong. So they will never believe you, no matter what you do. That's the problem. Okay, now, any questions? Hopefully I haven't raised my voice and got too obnoxious with you people. It's just a game, people. Get the credits up from your fictional person's account. Then you will start getting your relief and remedies, your reimbursements for what they've taken out of your back pocket. Now you will be able to build your estate back up because you'll have your credits coming home. You go out and spend those credits again. You turn around, take the receipt, and you get them back.
You're talking about taking care of ourselves first, and there's been so many things out there about that, and you got
to speak up a little more, please.
About being in the private versus the public, and that's exactly what you're telling us to do, how to function in the private, right? And
yeah,
I got my birth certificate, which I need to authenticate, things like that.
No, you don't need to get it authenticated. It already is authenticated. Okay? That's total misnomer in the process. When it comes out from the Bureau of Vital Statistics under a Bureau of Vital Statistics seal, and it also comes out under a state seal, your birthing state seal, it's authenticated right there on the spot.
Great. That's less thing I have to do. But I also have a corporation. My husband has a corporation, so we work in the public. And I'm only trying to settle an estate. Don't have any issues with my own things. And
you get your individual banker's EIN, and basically when you get your individual banker's EIN, you establish yourself as a private bank E&T. Now you turn around and you sell that corporation for $1 over to your private bank.
Okay.
Okay? Enough said.
My existing corporation and put it into the private bank.
Yeah. You take it into the private.
Don't have to do a trust first? There's a lot.
What's a bill of sale?
Okay. But
yeah.
I've heard people when they go into the private saying that the best way to do it is to create a trust.
No, you stay away from trust.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah,
you are an E-state, an ecclesiastical state. You can have a private bank in your E-state, but you do not have a trust. Trusts are all basically for the benefit of the lawyers and the damn state. They're fraudulent. Because now with a trust, you've got to have somebody else be the trustee. You can't be both the beneficiary and the trustee in the same trust.
I wouldn't trust anybody else with my affairs anyway, so I don't know why
so basically stay away from trust. Why do you need it?
Okay. Well, that's what I didn't understand it totally and didn't know why we needed it.
Yeah, you don't need a trust.
Out there.
These people that are putting the word out about needing a trust, it's got to be a trust. It's got to be a trust. They are working for the bankers. guaranteed.
Hey,
So
Patrick.
do we get a
Either that or else
45?
they don't know what the shit they're talking about.
Could be both. But we need the 98, not the 45 EIN number, right?
You need a foreign grantor trust EIN. You need an estate EIN number over your Mortimain, Social Security Mortimain account. And then you need to have an individual banker's EIN that is over both of those. Because a private bank also has a E&T, estate and trust. But it's not really a trust, it's just an entrustment.
So what's the first one again that we need?
The first one you need is your estate EIN over your Mortimain Social Security account.
Okay.
Then you need to get your individual banker's EIN. And when you do that, you file the document that I have online there, my summary sheet, and you do both of these online with the IRS. Don't go into these other EIN sites that are going to charge you anywhere from $75 to $200 and some to get an EIN. You do it with the IRS, and basically it don't cost you anything, and they'll give you the EIN in about 5 minutes. And when you do the one for the individual banker, you have to put down who this individual banker is working for, and he's going to be working for, like in my case, it was the Patrick Devine Private Bank E&T. That's who he's working for. He's an employee of my private bank, but he's not a private banker. He's an individual banker. Because everything we do out here is on an individual basis. A private banker, if you go into the dictionary and look up what it says about private banker, the state has jurisdiction over private bankers. The state has no jurisdiction over an individual banker. They can't touch them. And they can't touch a private bank. Just as they cannot touch a private estate or a ecclesiastical state. The state has no jurisdiction over a church. And that's what you really are when you are an ecclesiastical state. And you stand exempt. Huh?
What if you don't have any baptism records?
Please speak up. I can't hardly hear you.
What if you don't have any baptism records?
Where do you get your baptism record?
Well, I don't know if I was baptized or not. I don't think I was.
Well, then go down and get a baptism, okay? You can go to the Methodist, Presbyterian, Jehovah's Witnesses, basically as long as they record your baptism, the Roman Catholic Church, the Lutheran Church, the Baptist Church. As long as they record that into their church records, see, they are standing as an ecclesiastical court representative because all roads lead to Rome. That means all churches derive their original powers and authority from Rome, from the Church of Rome, because they're all basically operating under the Ten Commandments, the foundational laws out here. And that's Christ, okay? And Christ is the foundational laws cast in iron in the present time frame.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Anybody else have a question, comment, rebuttal, whatever?
Patrick, yeah. So what you're saying is
you got to speak up.
Okay. What you're saying is then instead of if you have an S corporation, instead of instead of dissolving that corporation, we can sell that to our individual banker for $1.
You sell it to your private bank. Okay? Your individual banker is just an employee of your private bank.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
see, like
so then,
when I went and got my car, okay, I went in basically after they deposited my $73,000 into my Direct Express debit card, okay, I turned around and went in there, and for $25,050, I went in there and I bought the car in my Patrick Devine private bank, E&T. My private bank owns that car. The state has no jurisdiction over that vehicle. It's all in the private now.
Right.
And I didn't go and register it again because basically that is a fraudulent claim that the state says you need to register your vehicle. That's threats and intimidation.
Right. So by doing this, then I save myself the trouble and the aggravation of actually dissolving the corporation.
Yeah. I told you I was trying to make this shit simple for you guys. The more you think about this, I can come up with all different sorts of remedies for you. Okay? You ask the question, and I'll give you the answer. Because I'm starting to be able to think totally outside the box. I'm not boxed in anymore.
So I'm not quite understanding this. The corporation can still be in existence, but I will not have to dissolve it because now my private bank, E&T, owns it. Correct?
Yes, you will be operating in the private, and you will have to operate accordingly, okay? So you can't be operating with the fraudulent banking system. You will have to be paying your employees directly out of the profits of that corporation.
Okay. Well, there's no employees.
Yeah, you're going to have to get your employees to start coming out of the system too.
Thank you.
Okay.
That'll bend them up.
All this stuff has to be done on an individual basis. It can't be done in a group effort, okay?
Patrick, subsection 5-108. Could you clarify where that's from? I'm a little bit confused.
That is from the UCC.
Okay.
Yeah. There's 9 chapters in UCC or whatever, something like that.
And we're talking about the code, the Universal Commercial Code, not the copyright creditor.
Well, it's basically the Universal Copyright Creditor is really what UCC stands for. See, they put fraudulent names out here, just like the FBI. They call it the Federal Bureau of Investigators when it's really the Federal Banking Investigators. They do more accounting investigations than anything else. They only let those guys go out maybe once in a while with a gun on their hip to try and help bring in some real heinous fugitive or whatever. But for the most part, they're out there operating on banking violations. The Secret Service is the same way. They're over the enterprise financial management system. And they came to my house in the private to talk it over with me, but I didn't have all my ducks in a row at the time when they came here. I've gone head-to-head with them all at one point or another. and basically I stood my ground, and basically I walked away from them. They knew that I was on, and basically I was standing in honor out here, and that they knew that they really did not have a right to harm me in the process, because we are really standing as immunity as an ecclesiastical estate, a copyrighted ecclesiastical estate. And that was what the Declaration of Independence set up. Some of those items were started to be founded in England, but the churches and everything got back into play and took, and this is what the religious side does, they take those powers away from the people, because all these churches out here are really operating for profit and for hire, just like the bankers. They're the ones that Jesus was trying to throw out of the temple. The teachers, the lawyers, the quack doctors, giving you fraudulent man-made drugs when basically you have essential oils out here. Just like what the Bible said, I give you all the remedies in the barks and the leaves and everything else out here. The plants to take care of you. So why in the hell are we going to a damn quack doctor that's getting kickbacks from a damn drug company that's out there utilizing the fraudulent banking system in the whole damn process? It's your choice. I'm not going to force you into any of this, okay? Because I can't. I'm not going to come and hold a gun to your head and get irate about any more with you. I've done my job. I'll be out of the system very shortly. I'm trying to give you a heads up on what's coming down for me, okay? Showing you all my documentation, okay? I've really tried to give everything out here pretty much freely, okay? Maybe a little payment for some of my time to copy and download files, because in some cases it locks my computer up for a couple hours in the downloading process, so that basically deprives me of the usage of the computer in the process. So it's not for me that you're making a payment, okay? And that was only $25 basically, so I'm not charging like Winston or something like that, some of these guys, $4,000 or $5,000, and then not giving you anything. You got the receipt with that $25 money order that you can turn around and put a claim in for that $25 of credit back from your Social Security account. So you're not out a damn thing. Okay?
Yep.
Here, here, Patrick. Thank you.
I told quite a few of these guys, all the way back to Tony Pastor Kingfisher, Tim Turner, and quite a few of these other guys that if they're out there giving seminars, they had better be able to tell the people how to pay for that seminar. And not one of them ever did tell you how to pay for that seminar. That's where you ought to be asking the questions, instead instead of trying to ask me to provide proof that I got relief. I've got the proof. But they're not going to give me a document saying, here, your hospital bill is paid for $20,000 from about 4 years ago. It just magically goes off the books.
Well, I'm looking for I'm going to be trying to get a release of a lien from the IRS, and usually when they release liens, they do send you a notice saying your lien has been released.
Yeah. Well, basically, how much is the lien for?
Too much.
Call them up and say, how much is the bill? Send me a bill. Mm-hmm. Now, you get the bill. Basically, I put a document up there to where I got a fraudulent filing fee of $10,000 against my estate EIN person, which he has no income, so basically he don't have anything. And I sent it back to them, and I released the $10,000 in credit that they wanted. And I said, here, I give you a gift of $10,000. I could have fought it with them, okay, and had them but I said, no, I'll give you a gift because I wanted something in return from them. I put an additional $250,000 credit release on there. I did.
How did you do
twice.
that?
Huh?
How did you do that?
My letter is up there on the site.
Okay.
Okay? Mm-hmm. It's a 2-page letter.
Okay.
And I sent that in, and then I also, with their bill, and I stamped it, credits released upon their bill, and then I also said that I'm also releasing another $250,000. Now, that was for my estate person. I also got another one for $5,000 for my foreign grantor person. So I released $255,000 on that one. And I said, deposit it into my Treasury, my Department of the Treasury Direct Express debit card in the process. They're the bankers. Now, you have an insurance policy with the FDIC if you have a commercial bank account. You turn around and you write up a credit release against that insurance policy and deposit that into your bank account. You don't do it with the teller. You do it with the drop box at night. Okay? You don't want to get into an argument with the teller in the process. You want this basically getting right to the back room to that chief financial officer who is a 33rd degree Mason or 32nd or 33rd Mason that understands the banking system and understands the UCC code, Section 5108, and they have 5 days to get that taken care of. Now, the FDIC will try and get you to, just like an insurance company, will try and get you to pay those credits back out of your back pocket, but you don't have to. You just give them a letter of, or a release from your Social Security account and basically put the $250,000 or whatever you borrowed out of there back into that insurance policy. Learn to play the game, and then
Patrick?
learn how to win the game and come out of the game with money in your back pocket, with all
Patrick?
your credits. Yes.
Patrick, with that release for the FDIC be in the form of a letter of credit like we were doing, or a simpler document?
However you want to write it up, okay?
Okay.
It's not going to be a letter of credit. It's going to be a letter of release of credits.
Letter of release. Okay. Thank you.
You've got the account number. Basically, the account number that the FDIC is using is your bank account number.
Sure.
So that is the insurance policy that you're going after. It's a whole life type insurance policy. I don't know if you people have ever had a whole life insurance policy and ever needed some money, and you can go in and you've deposited $10,000 out of your back pocket into that whole life insurance policy. You can turn around and borrow against that because you deposited. Okay? Now, if you die in the meantime and you took the $10,000 out and the policy was for $500,000, the beneficiary is only going to get $490,000 instead of the full $500,000. All insurance is a fraud anyway, okay? Like I said, you have to know how to play the game, and then you can start winning for a change. Because you've been out here trying to play tennis on a football field, and they're going to run right over you.
Great.
In your little skirt and shorts out there trying to play against guys that have all the padding and everything, and they're just going to trounce you. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question for you. If I wanted to purchase a piece of heavy equipment, how would I go about that? My understanding as of this moment is to get a quote, then I would issue a letter of credit to the dealership. Then I would stamp the quote with the release of credit stamp and include the FBI warning.
You would just get an invoice from them for the value, and then you would just release the credits from your Social Security guarantor. They will have to take that Social Security number and apply it to the appropriate 1099-A, B, C, or whatever that they need to process through the IRS banking system to transfer the credits over to their account. In a lot of cases, they've already utilized the credits to build the machine. They had to borrow it from our accounts to begin with. So basically, it's a win-win for both parties.
Oh, okay.
Ah. See, all those IRS forms are their forms, their banking forms. We are the customer. We're also the creditor. And just like the baptismal certificate was all set up to be, it's a means for us to cancel any original debt that they try and put upon us. And all we have to do is release the credits. Pretty simple.
Wow.
Hey, just to help you correct your statement, it's not release the credits, it's credits released with the word released in capital letters. Correct, Patrick?
Credits released. Okay.
Yeah, in capital letters, the word released.
Yeah, released is in all capital letters.
Right. Just trying to help him get it solid in his mind.
Read page 2 of the definitions that were up there that I had posted previously.
Yeah, I just read that.
And it's out of most all those definitions are right out of Ballantyne's dictionary. Now, there's a few that weren't in there, like blessed or a couple other words that I had to go into the dictionaries online to find those because they weren't in any of the law dictionaries in the process. But Black's Law Dictionary has quite a bit of good stuff about ecclesiastical. And if you do a word search and go through the whole dictionary, searching for ecclesiastical, you're going to find some very interesting stuff. Like libertas, Libertas, ecclesia, ecclesiastical immunity. And see, that's basically what we were given with the Declaration of Independence. We were given an immunity as a creditor.
Patrick, when
this was supposed to be our kingdom, our new Zion, our kingdom on earth. Go ahead, you got to speak up, though.
I was just going to say, when you say we were given immunity with the Declaration of Independence, what definition of the we are you talking about? Is we the people?
We as an ecclesiastical state, and it was blessed off by the Church of Rome as a treaty. So everybody here in this country was given basically a claim to the treasury of the country. We, the people, own America, not the corporations.
Right.
The first thing in all the constitutions, in almost all the constitutions of the state, it says, we, the people, give the government a charter. That's really what it's implying, okay? It doesn't really come out and say that, because they had to try and word it. Even George Washington, okay, and I got a document, I'll probably have to post this, that he wasn't going to sign anything unless we had our ecclesiastical rights as a family unit.
Wow.
And see, that's who has the right to vote, is a individual family unit as an ecclesiastical state. Okay?
Okay.
That's the only people that have a right to vote. They are the electors. The ecclesiastical states are the electors of this country.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that.
You got to speak up. I can barely hear you.
I said thank you. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned also on the authentication of the birth certificate, it's already authenticated. I see what you're saying. However, why do they, when you contact vital statistics or the county, what have you, and you say you would like to have it authenticated, they go ahead and charge you to authenticate it?
Making money.
They're not going to give you an authentication, okay? The only place you can get an authentication is really coming out of the Secretary of State's office.
Well, right.
Okay?
And they'll tell you
and
that.
all you need to have is a certified copy. That's what you want out of them, okay, is a certified copy, not an authenticated copy. And really,
Right.
all you're getting nowadays is you are getting a bank note. And you have to pay, yes, $20 to get that bank note because they're in there operating for profit. Okay? So they're trying to make a profit in the process of giving you $1 million. You just didn't know how to process that bank note. Now we do. But the key thing is we need to first bring down our Social Security account, get out of the de facto banking system, and then we will basically be freed up to operate out of the public bank or out of the de jure banking system. But there again, all the way back to the very first statute at large, you have to give them a debt to be able to release the credits. Okay? So if you go in there and say, hey, I got this, I've got, I want $1 million for this birth certificate. No, you've got to give them $1 million in debt to basically get the $1 million in credit. And see, when you start taking out your Social Security account, you're going to get a bunch of credits, and then you can turn around and start bringing the credits when you buy something back out of the de jure treasury in the process. But you have to do one first, then you do the second. And then after that, you can go to the third level, because this is like a 3-tier chess game. And the third tier is the St. Patrick's Trust, which is a Roman trust out of the Church of Rome. And you'll need to have another EIN for that one.
Oh, all right.
See, in most cases, all you need to have a debt is to have an invoice. You get a window sticker for a new vehicle. Basically, you stamp it, credits released. You turn around and send it into the Ford Motor Company credit department, and basically you just release the credits to them, so now the vehicle's yours.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you how to write a debt, because you told us before to write it for negative amounts, but that's almost the same thing, isn't it?
No.
No?
You just release the credits.
Okay.
Credits will be negative.
Right.
Okay? In their accounting system,
right.
They will be negative to offset or positive, which in their banking system, debt is positive, credits are negative. And all we have to do is release the credits. That's what the key word is, released.
Mm-hmm.
And these attorneys and everything else that are operating for these bankers are not going to do it unless we use the proper word. That's why nobody ever really got all that remedy using the accepted for value, because we were using the wrong words. And you have to know this, okay? Because they will try and claim that you're doing something illegal. And you have to know how to stand and defend it and then follow through with your warnings. Because there are some out there that are very arrogant and that will try and run right over you and cause you harm because of their stupidity. So you best have the FBI phone number, fax number, whatever, the Inspector General's fax numbers or phone numbers right at hand. And then you need to know that you're standing as a Eucharistical minister in the process, exempt. Most of these ministers out here in the religious society don't know that even themselves. They don't know how much power they really have over these fraudulent state governmental employees. It was the bankers that instigated that whole thing down there at Mount Carmel. The arrogance that they had, because they wanted to protect their own, the Bushes, in the process, because of all the details that David Koresh and several of his members had about illicit drug trafficking that the Bushes were doing, and Clinton. But if David would have stood his ground as an ecclesiastical minister, he would have walked out of there and saved all of his fellow members' lives.
I don't think
the
the
arrogance
accusation was
on the people's behalf is just as bad as the arrogance on the other side of the aisle, too.
I'll be back in a second. I got to take a call. Excuse me.
Anybody else have anything?
Guess not, Patrick.
Okay, let's go ahead and call tonight then.
Thank
Read
you.
those documents over and be ready to ask them questions this next time, okay?
Right.
I'm done trying to explain this, okay?
You've answered all the questions I've had. Thank you.
Okay. Later.
Thank you. Night.
Okay.
Okay, good night. Bye.
Thanks, Patrick. Bye.